Part 3 of Full Court Press Basketball Debate, January 6th, 2015. Let's begin with the Cavs GM. Now, I have to preface this by saying that some reports came out last week that there was a divide between David Blatt and his players. Okay? The Cavs GM responds by saying the divide between Blatt and the players is a narrative, and it's ridiculous. Yvonne, my question to you, is there a divide between Coach Blatt and the Cleveland players? Why or why not?
I don't know, but if there is, I can tell you why. If there is, I can tell you why. Because of his coaching skill and because the other players are listening more to Kobe than they are to him. LeBron more than they are to him. Because his tactics are not working. And they're not winning like they thought, oh, LeBron's going to come back and we're just going to take it all away. And the fact that, you want to go back to the Euro thing? Coaching skills are not the same.
Right. That has everything to do with it.
That is absolutely what this is all about. And if there, I don't know that there is, but if there is a divide, that's why.
Well,
because the rest of the players are relying more on LeBron and what he's saying out there on that. Let's be perfectly honest, okay? He can huddle up with them all he wants. But when they're out there on the court, if LeBron says to do something, God would have to come out of the sky and tell me that those guys are not listening to what LeBron's saying.
And why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Let me say this. I don't believe there is a divide between Coach Blatt and the players. I believe the divide exists between Coach Blatt's game planning and Coach Blatt's style of coaching and the players, because I believe he's trying to push Euro tactics onto these guys. And
well, that's what I said in a matter of speaking.
We're not playing in Europe. Okay?
And I do, right or wrong, I do think LeBron has a lot to do with this.
Well, of course he does.
Because if they can't trust what Blatt's telling them to do, the next best thing to do is to go out on the court and listen to LeBron.
Of course. That's where the divide exists for me. It's the tactic. It's not the coach. It's the coach's tactic. It's the coach's game planning. It's the coach's strategy.
And again, this is going back to a media story. This is somebody that picked up a little tidbit of gossip.
But I also want to say,
in the media and blew this all out.
I also want to say that the Cavs GM, this is not a narrative. This is not ridiculous. I disagree with this quote. I object to the Cavs GM saying that this is ridiculous. There's nothing ridiculous about this.
You don't expect him to agree, do you?
I don't expect him to agree, but don't say it's ridiculous because it happens every day.
Yeah, but he's going to deny it to his dying
Well, you know
breath.
what?
And that's so that he can keep some camaraderie.
You know what?
And some peace, and maybe try to squash
You know
this
what?
story.
When you're 18 and 15, you're not squashing anything. You're not squashing anything but a bug on a windshield. And you're almost missing that bug.
I understand that.
Okay?
He's going to try to do everything that he can to say that this is a ridiculous story and this was all generated by the media, because if the players get this idea in their head, it's going to end up being true.
Well,
if it's not true already.
Well, if and try, you know.
Yeah.
LeBron and Stephen Curry lead the All-Star voting so far. We know All-Star game comes up in February, next month already.
I know.
Going by too fast. LeBron and Steph are your leaders. Your thoughts?
But they're not the only ones who are going to be on the All-Star
Well, no,
team.
but they're leading in voting.
Okay, and I'm not surprised at all. Are you? Come on.
Not by LeBron.
You're surprised that Stephen Curry's not up there with LeBron for being on
he
the
should
All-Star
be up there.
team?
I didn't think people would vote him simply because half of All-Star voting is a popularity contest.
Mhm.
Okay? I thought Kevin Durant and Kobe and all those guys simply because they're loved. Not because of the way they've played, but because of the way that they're admired.
Mhm.
You know, that there are people that would argue that LeBron James has not been the best player in the Eastern Conference. And you
Right.
know what? I'm almost inclined to agree with that. But you know what? He's going to be the top vote getter because you know what? He's loved. That's why I'm surprised that Curry is leading the West.
Curry is the golden boy with the golden arm who can make the three-point shots. I'm not surprised
What?
by this at all.
What?
Is it justified? Is it deserved over some of the others?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Not okay. To me, not over guys like Anthony Davis.
Right.
But Curry has been fantastic this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Amari Stoudemire on the Knicks record. Quote, "It's beyond imagination."
What did he mean by that?
Your thoughts?
I don't understand what
Well,
he meant.
that's what I'm asking you.
Well, I can't comment on it if I don't understand what he meant. Do you think he meant that favorably?
That's what I'm asking you.
Oh,
Because that's all he said.
well, the Knicks record sucks, so
Well, they're 5
obviously.
and 32. Yeah,
okay,
that
it
sucks a little bit.
So, beyond imagination, I would imagine that he meant by that never in a million years did he think that the Knicks would have a record that's so pitiful.
Right.
And if that is what he meant, then I agree with him
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it is pitiful. It's pathetic. And I never in a million years dreamed that we would be talking about the Knicks as being, aren't they last? That is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
She said it. You heard it here. Took the words right out of my mouth.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know what the whole problem is. I don't know if it's a multitude of problems that need
It's
fixing.
a multitude of problems that have stemmed from one person.
Okay? And, I mean, can we really blame everything on Derek Fisher?
Yes. Yes.
He is just bound and determined to make this what's it
The
called?
triangle.
The triangle work. And it's not working, and I don't know, I mean, how much, they're last.
I mean, you've had 37 games to experiment with this. Come on.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but if you see it's broken, find another tactic.
Come on. That's bad.
Let them play ball.
Big time.
Let the boys play ball.
Big
Let
time.
them play like you know they know how to play. Why is he trying to force this down their throat? Okay, and what does the owner of the Knicks have to say?
James
about
Dolan? Nobody cares what James Dolan has to say about it because
No,
James Dolan.
no. Don't you think Derek Fisher should care? And don't you think that the owner should have a say? If your team is last,
We've talked about this. James Dolan does not run the day-to-day operations. Who runs the day-to-day operations?
that's ridiculous.
Phil Jackson.
That's ridiculous. Well, then don't you think Phil Jackson should have something to say about
Sure.
this? Why isn't he saying anything?
Great question.
Why is he not recognizing that this is not working?
Great question. Great question.
Then he has no business in the day-to-day operations. Is it even, I know there are people out there that are going to listen to this and just want to curse me to hell. Is it possible that Phil Jackson is trying to sabotage this team? And if he is, what benefit would there be in that for him?
No. No.
Well, he's obviously not pulling Derek Fisher aside and saying, look, this shit's not working. Let's go back to letting the boys play like
We
they
don't
know
know.
how to play.
We don't know. We don't know.
And it's the players I feel the most sorry for. It's not working.
It's Carmelo.
Oh, well,
I
that's
feel
what
the
I'm
most
talking.
sorry for.
Well, yeah. How would you like to be the star player for the team and their
That's
last.
5 and 32.
Right.
Big time trade went down last night between Oklahoma City, Cleveland, and the Knicks. In case you missed it, I'll recap. The Knicks have sent J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert to Cleveland to join LeBron, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving. And Cleveland has sent Dion Waiters to Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City has sent 3 draft picks to New York. Okay? 3-way trade. Yvonne, who won this trade and why?
Cleveland. For this year. Cleveland. Absolutely. Without, they needed this. Are you kidding? Now, having said that, I also think, hi baby.
Hi.
Having said that, I also think that the Knicks, get yourself a snack or drink or whatever you want, your mama's going to be late.
Okay.
Having said that, there's nothing to sneeze at it getting the 3 draft picks for next season. That's awesome. But I'm dealing with right now, at this moment in time, not the future. I'm looking at right now. Okay? The ones who came out the best on this deal, in my opinion, is Cleveland. They needed the help. They needed the players. Don't you think that this is going to be beneficial to the Cleveland team?
I respect your opinion.
But you disagree with it.
Completely.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Look at Cleveland's team right now.
Okay.
LeBron, Irving, Love. If David Black can't handle that, what makes you think he will be able to handle J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert added to that?
Because, like I said a few minutes ago, they're going to go out on the court, they're going to huddle up, and they're going to listen to look.
Have you met J.R. Smith's personality?
Yeah.
You want to talk about a guy that has to have the ball in his hands the whole time? Oh, that's J.R. Smith.
Okay.
Guess what?
Well, no,
Not with LeBron, you're not.
That's not going to happen.
Okay. My point is,
But LeBron's one of the
Cleveland.
only people who can make that
Cleveland got the worst end of this deal.
stop. How do you figure?
Because David Black can't set a lineup with 3 stars. Now, you've got 5 fantastic players.
He's going to cease to exist. Black's going to cease to exist.
And that's terrible
Well,
for a team
yeah.
going forward.
Yeah, but the players are going to run the team.
And that's going to get them through the playoffs.
I don't know about
You
that.
don't win a playoff series without a coach.
Well,
The team that got the best deal here is actually Oklahoma City.
why?
Westbrook, Durant, Ibaka, and Adams are 4 of your 5 starters.
Okay.
Name the other one. Name the person that starts at 2 guard right now for Oklahoma City.
I can't.
You can't.
No.
Now you can. Dion Waiters. They have been missing a 2 guard for years. They have relied on the scoring of 2 men, Westbrook and Durant, to get them to the promised land. You know what? That becomes easy to defend, doesn't it? San Antonio has proven that in the playoffs. The Clippers have proven that in the playoffs. It becomes easy to defend. Now, when you play Oklahoma City, you got a third wheel to deal with. Because Dion Waiters, let me tell you something, that guy can score the ball. We've seen him.
And you honestly think that that is more beneficial than getting 3 or 4 draft picks?
If we're talking for this season,
Oh.
like you were talking, for this season, OKC benefits the greatest, in my opinion. Because I just don't see. David Black can't make a consistent lineup with 3 stars. How's he going to do it with 5? One of them has to go to the bench.
Like I said, the team's going to be running the show.
And they're not going to get anywhere with that. They're not going to get anywhere with that. Behind every championship team, there is a great head coach. I'm sorry.
Even when you've got LeBron James on the
Boston team
calling the shots?
Yes. That Boston team that we're so fond of talking about in 2008 with Rondo, Garnett, Pierce, Ray Allen, Eddie House, Kendrick Perkins, all these guys. Who was their coach again? Doc Rivers. The 2007 Hornets with Chris Paul, David West, Tyson Chandler, Peja Stojakovic. Who was their coach? Byron Scott.
Yeah.
Behind every great... All of these Spurs teams with all these fantastic players.
Popovich.
Greg Popovich. How is David Black going to handle that? He can't. He can't. And players do not get through playoff series by themselves. You gotta have coaching. You've got to have coaching.
I guess time will tell.
But as far as the Knicks go, oh my God. We talked about this completely off the air on the phone last night.
Yeah.
About how they now have $40 million free.
In the big picture down the road.
The Knicks won this trade.
The Knicks won this.
Immensely.
Yeah. Because they're sunk for this year.
Immensely.
There is no way that they're going to come back from the deficit that they're in for this year.
Because let's be honest, they're probably going to finish last
Yeah.
in the league, which means they've got the greatest odds of getting the number 1 pick. Okay? And the Knicks went about this whole season completely wrong. They tried to build a team around a group of guys. That's not what you do. You build a team around one player.
Okay, and if we keep trying to push this triangle thing down everybody's throat, do you see Derek Fisher being the coach next year?
Next year, yes, because he signed a 5-year deal.
And he's going to continue to try this?
Nope.
What's going to make him stop?
Phil Jackson's the only one that can make him stop.
How far and how bad is it going to have to get before Phil
Well,
realizes?
they don't care about this year anymore. That's the thing.
So they're going to keep trying.
I don't know. The Pelicans' Eric Gordon returned last night against Washington after missing 21 games.
Yep.
Now, they lost last night against a good Washington team.
Yep.
Down the road, Yvonne, how does Gordon's return help New Orleans?
Well, if he plays like he played last night, it's going to be good. He was a good player last night. He was on top of things. I think they all made some mistakes that they shouldn't have made. And you cannot win a game with 18 turnovers. I'm sorry. Okay? They were reckless. They were careless with the ball sometimes. The rebounding was pitiful. Okay?
It was very unlike New Orleans this year.
It was not. They did not play like they'd been playing. And that brings up a very interesting point, Chris. Okay? When you take somebody who's a regular starter out of the lineup for that many games and for that long, and you put him back in, do they have to learn how to play together all over again? I think they do. I think they do. I think they do. Because if you look back, let's go back as far as when we went to see them play. Okay? They played better when we went to see them play than they played last night. They were more unified. They were reading each other better. They were on top of things. Okay? This was not the New Orleans Pelicans that we have been seeing all this season so far. And I think it's because you interject somebody who has been out for a while and you put him back in, and it's like everybody's...
Well, it changes.
Right.
Because of the type of player that Eric Gordon is. He scores the ball.
Exactly.
It's tough. Now,
Exactly.
question B, does New Orleans stand a chance in the West? Why
What do you
not?
mean by that?
Do they stand a chance in the West?
As in developing a seeding?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they can. They need, not if they continue like they did last night. No. No. But they were on a good win streak there for a while. And they better get it together before we go to see them on the 30th. Honestly, don't they play Memphis next?
When we go see them?
No, their next game.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Memphis is on Friday.
Yeah. And Zach Randolph will be back?
Maybe.
That game is going to tell the tale.
Does New Orleans stand a chance in the West? They get a chance getting the 7 or 8 seed.
Yeah.
Beyond that, no.
No.
Not that
I agree.
Not that they're not skilled enough, and not that
No,
they
but
don't.
the competition
Not that they
is
don't
so
have
hard.
the potential.
Oh my God.
It's not only the competition; it's the lack of experience.
Right.
It's the.
They're
lack of
babies
experience.
compared to
We're the
right.
second youngest team in the league.
Right.
Come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
Do you think, I'm going to take it one step further, you think we can beat Memphis if Zach Randolph does not play?
Yes, I think we can beat Memphis if Zach Randolph does play.
I don't know about that.
Okay, if we can beat San Antonio twice, and our only loss to San Antonio is in overtime by 2
Yeah.
because of a fluke play
Yeah.
by Omer Ashik tipping the ball into his own goal. By the way,
I know.
what are the odds of that happening? 1 in 1,000? Come on. What are the odds of that happening?
Don't think he didn't crucify himself for that after the game.
What are the odds? And they only beat us by 2. If we can beat San Antonio twice,
That turned the whole game around.
come on.
I know.
Come on, we can beat Memphis.
I know. Who do we play next?
Wednesday, Charlotte. Tomorrow.
Charlotte.
In Charlotte. Without Al Jefferson, we can win that game.
There's no reason we can't.
We can win that game.
I'm much more worried about Friday's game
Of
against
course.
Memphis.
Only a few more topics left. Dirk Nowitzki last night passed Moses Malone for 7th all-time on the scoring list. Your thoughts?
Congratulations. Congratulations. It's well deserved. Goodness, he's earned it.
Yeah.
After all this time,
Yeah.
he's earned it.
Yeah, he's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much you can say about Dirk.
Okay. Dirk is one of those rare breeds that you can use the word almost always consistent. Okay? There are very few players that, Paul Pierce is another one. He's consistent. Some games are better than others. Some games are worse than others. He's not always 100%. But nobody's always 100%. Michael Jordan
Tony
was
Parker.
not always.
You want the definition of consistent?
100%.
Tony Parker.
Okay, but you talk about people like Tony Parker. You talk about people like Dirk Nowitzki. You talk about people like Michael Jordan when he played, Paul Pierce. They're consistent. They may not always give 100%. They may not always be 100%.
Tim Duncan.
They're consistent.
Look, Dirk Nowitzki is dominant.
Absolutely.
And it's not because he's 7 foot. It's not because he's this huge physical stature of a presence that It's the way he plays.
He plays his own game.
Guardable.
Right.
I've never seen anything like it. He's absolutely unfreaking guardable. It's almost annoying. It's almost annoying.
It's like trying to guard Kobe.
Because you know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And you still can't stop it.
Exactly. Well, you know what Kobe's going to do usually, but they still can't keep up with it.
Kobe's just, don't even compare that. Jimmy Butler gets Chicago past Houston in what was a battle last night. Yvonne, what, if anything, does this game prove to you?
That he deserves to be a starter. He deserves to be in that position, and that he is a phenomenal player.
On an individual level, yeah. But I want to point out that as good as Butler was in this game, I don't think he was the star in this game.
Oh, no.
In this game, how about Pau Gasol?
Yeah.
Against Dwight Howard, mind you. And let's compare age. Okay, let's start with that. Let's compare stature.
I know.
27 points and 14 rebounds. What? Is this 2010?
I'm looking at the season overall. Jimmy Butler deserves to be a starter, and he has been phenomenal.
What is this, 2010,
Right.
Pau Gasol?
Right,
Are you kidding me?
right.
And another thing that this game proves to me is that Chicago can go with the big boys, because this was no easy game.
No,
Did they only won by what, 6?
right,
Come on. And this is Houston.
right.
It's a very good, very dangerous Houston team. And Chicago outworked them. Chicago outplayed them to the bitter end.
Yeah.
Proved a lot.
They were huffing and puffing by the end. There wasn't anybody that was not exhausted by the end of that game. In fact, do either one of those teams play tonight?
No.
Neither.
No.
No. Good. I'm glad they've got a night of rest, because I tell you what, they need it.
Atlanta beats the Clippers for their 7th straight road win, and it's their 19th win out of their past 21 games. Yvonne, is Atlanta the team to beat in the East?
Yes.
Why or why not?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm going to use the word consistent.
Atlanta is not only the team to beat in the East, they're the team to beat in the league.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Golden State has been good, and they do hold the best record.
Yeah.
But there is no comparison as far as how hot these two teams have been.
Well, the main thing you have to remember is if you get Golden State in the paint, there's
19 out of 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is their best start in team history. Now let's think about team history here. Doc Rivers,
Uh-huh.
Spud Webb, Dominique Wilkins. And this is the best start in that team's history. With the ownership problems that are going on in Atlanta
Yeah, I
right
know.
now. Are you kidding me?
Which brings me back to, why would you want to get rid of a team like that when they're probably going to be up there wanting to walk away with all of it and bringing so much money into the city? You got rid of the problem. The coach was the problem. Why do you want to get rid of the team?
Right.
I hope somebody rethinks that.
Division discussion, just to close the debate. Division discussion and conference standings. I'm going to do like I usually do. The standings have not changed too much since we last did this. Especially in the West, they're pretty much at a standstill right now. I think, in fact, they're exactly the same as when we last did this. Yeah, they are. But in the East, there's been the big shakeup. Toronto's now in 3rd, which means Atlanta's in 1st.
Right.
Chicago's taken over the 2nd spot. Look, did this, especially in the East, man. Atlanta 26-8, the Knicks at 5-32. You would have told me that at the beginning of the season.
I know.
I would have told you were on drugs.
Right.
Honestly, I would have.
Yeah.
I honestly would have. Quick little Pelicans outlook for the rest of the week. Tomorrow night, we're in Charlotte. Should be able to win that game. No Al Jefferson. Anthony Davis should have a very, very, very good game Wednesday night. They've got a night's rest tonight.
Ooh, I was angry about that foul that was not called that triple foul that was not called. He got fouled 3 different times on the same shot, and nobody called it. I was not a happy camper.
We've got them, and then on Friday, Memphis comes to town to take on New Orleans at home. Good thing it's at home, because New Orleans has been very good at home this year.
Yeah.
Even though we're at 17-17. Look, Randolph or no Randolph, I like us in that game. If we were in Memphis, I would say it'd be different.
No, it's going to be different one way or the other with Zach Randolph on the team.
It's going to be harder, but you know what?
Yeah.
I still like us to win, no matter what. And I think that might do it for the week, actually. Yeah, those are our last 2 games of the week.
Okay. Well, we do deserve some rest.
Hope for the split, If you beat Charlotte, the loss to Memphis is excusable. Or the other way around. We could lose to Charlotte, and if we beat Memphis,
That would
if we win both, you know what?
Well, that was going to be my next question before we sum this up. What do we have to do, or what does somebody else have to do
To move us?
to move us up?
We're still sitting behind Phoenix. Phoenix is still 2 games ahead of us in the standings. Tonight they've got a tough one in Milwaukee. They've got a tough one. If Phoenix loses tonight,
Do you really think that Milwaukee can beat Phoenix?
of course they can. Of course they can.
Okay.
Is it probable? No. But stranger things have happened. Okay?
Yeah.
Philadelphia over Cleveland.
Is anybody out?
I don't believe Dragic, Bledsoe, Tucker, Morrison, Lynn, Knight. No.
Okay.
I mean, except for Jabari Parker, but he's been out. He's out for the
Been
season.
out. Yeah.
Then Phoenix, I'm looking to see if they have any more games. I think they play one on Wednesday night, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there they are at Minnesota. I don't see them losing that one. I don't see them losing at Minnesota.
No.
But again, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same night that we play Charlotte. So if Phoenix loses tonight against Milwaukee, that moves us within a game. Then if we beat Charlotte and Phoenix loses to Minnesota, we will surpass them. We've got to beat Charlotte tomorrow
Boy, that's
night.
a lot of big ifs.
We've got to beat Charlotte tomorrow night. For the rest of the week, Phoenix. Friday night, we've got Memphis at home.
Uh-huh.
Phoenix is on the road in San Antonio.
Oh.
That's a tough one for them to win, especially now that Parker's back.
Is there any projected date for Kawhi Leonard to come back?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't know yet. And then Phoenix on Sunday night is in Memphis. So if we can win one, Phoenix has 4 more games this week,
Okay.
including tonight.
And we only have 2.
If we can win 1 out of 2, and Phoenix loses to San Antonio, Memphis, and tonight at Milwaukee, which honestly, it's not that far-fetched. If Phoenix loses 2, we'll be within a half game if we win 1. Got to beat Charlotte tomorrow night.
Okay.
Got to beat Charlotte tomorrow night. That concludes this edition of Full Court Press Basketball Debate. For Yvonne Juno, I'm Chris Guyette. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.